Hello, welcome to another episode of the GNPS, General Engineer. As always, coming at you with another dope guest. Sitting across me, he's back for the second time around.
Yeah.
The one and only, it's Commerce with
Lalela.
Teabag.
We are back.
Once
Sorry
again,
for the interruptions. These things happen. It's a podcast. But nonetheless, we're back. Enough about leadership. But not enough. It's not enough. I want to speak about a place where I feel like you are a leader, a space where I feel like you're a leader, more especially here in Durban, which is music, or should I say music and entertainment.
Sure.
Let me not throw you in the bush. What do you feel like? What's this like the progress report? If I were to ask for a progress report in terms of Durban, like in 2021, for where as a Teabag, where do you feel? Where do we stand? Like, are we checking the right boxes? Have we checked the boxes that we needed to check? I mean, from the time you would last set here
To now,
which is 2019.
I would say some, not all. Let me just put this in silent. Some, not all, and like last time I was here, there was a couple of artists that we spoke about, and we'll check the progress, like based on like how they've been going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from then till now, I feel, especially in entertainment in Durban, it's hit a ceiling, and how to burst through that ceiling is something that people can no longer do in their individual silos any longer, especially because the landscape has changed since we were here. Like an entire genre came and took over, and then the main market. So you see like a Yashna still like penetrating in spaces, like, and now she has. And she just got her first placement as well on TV, so shout out to Yashna.
Yeah, I saw yesterday on Linga Shone.
And she's obviously got the videos on on TV and stuff like that. She's been able to find a way to get things done with TV, radio, and plugging into these places independently, But obviously these spaces are still very much dominated by the sharks of the game,
Absolutely.
And in my brief period, like, putting together a record label and understanding like the competitive space that you're in, it's come to a point where a lot of the artists that couldn't survive have died down and died out almost specifically.
Why is so harsh? Why would someone feel
they can revive their careers, they can do something to do that, but in terms of momentum, in terms of market value, in terms of market share.
Yeah.
People that were into their stuff are generally more into somebody else right now while they go through whatever they go through. So, Bafile Jama came in.
But what do you think causes that? Like, I mean, is it the audience, or is it something like we weren't having our sound? Because like it concerns me that we have these waves where this season it's this genre, this era it's that genre. Like why can't all these sounds, if at a certain point we all are saying house is the genre, like why do we discard it as soon as there's something else?
A newer genre.
Yeah.
Because that's just the game of popular music. Pop music is just that. If you're crossing over, and you must make a difference between mainstream music and commercial music. There's a lot of commercial music out there. It's the mainstream that changes. Commercial music will always be there, which is why if we look at it from, let's not even go international. Let's look at it locally.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that are surviving in the main in the commercial game have always wanted to compete for the mainstream.
Yeah.
And it leaves a vacuum in the commercial space, which is where the problem really occurs. Ukuthi, if you were a hardcore vocal house fan, when it shifted from vocal house to mhlawumbe iqom or more even electro, when Fresh went electro, yeah, well, a lot of it changed, and a lot of people abandoned the vocal house game to either try find a way to integrate electro into the house, yeah, well, and 5-6 years later, second Afro Tech, which is a similar struggle, yeah, well, to say we want to preserve the essence of what we think house is, but still trying to compete in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And then you just get people abangena ndaba in the mainstream and just make commercial music, make music commercially, yeah. And one person like Uzawa is one person I'll always go back to, yeah. And I feel like the greatest challenge that happened to him was that an entire machine was stripped from him.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for a person that has thrived in a machine to now have to be that machine while still trying to compete with the music. Yeah, so what is called the gas rap, and goes out to make a trap of me because yes, I call the gas rap, but it wasn't mainstream. What I so called shit. Yeah,
I feel like it's still relevant, even though it's not in the public eye.
Still, fast forward, even I'll say I'm for Duncan because dude, 40-50, I've known Duncan since 40-51, and the influence that Uzago played in his career, it gets wagala, and but it's something that's good because right after that he was able to catapult Duncan into the game. Yeah, but kasi rap na commercial. Yeah, but Duncan, he was competing. Connie Witness the Funky, Connie Trim Timmy. Vesangeno, aka No Casper, and everybody about in the mainstream.
Yeah.
The mainstream environment changed. A lot of people died off. Was Salutangen. Yeah, doing the same thing that he had. Yeah, fast forward, they do an album together, and I listened to that album, and I'm like, this is one of the greatest hip hop albums of this time.
Dog.
Yeah, and again, it's on the back of Amapiano. It's on the back of all these things. Yeah, so. A lot of the times why people die is because they're competing for the mainstream when they don't have a commercial stronghold. Yeah, well, you need to have a commercial stronghold first.
Yeah.
Before you even try to do other things, because once you do other things, you can't afford to lose the people that you've created here. Abanye can. Casper could afford to lose the hip hop guys.
Yeah, can I just throw in just be devil's advocate? I'd argue, like, if you take artists like Abuzago, Uzago is well known. Fine, he no longer has the machine behind him.
And mind you, Uzago is the voice of Ikakasi FM.
Exactly. And see, those kind of avenues, like, I mean, in today's time, there's nothing that's stopping you from stamping your presence on the internet. I mean, you are Uzago, you already got the name. Why not bring in a couple of young guys behind you, set up a team, and you produce content? Because I mean, I know Uzago from hearing his songs on radio, obviously even before that. But obviously now, if radio is no longer playing his music and his songs are not on high rotation, the next place I'm gonna look for him is on the internet. But now the question is, what's there on the internet? You know, so that's why I'm like, sometimes I feel like artists, the machine, if you felt the power and the push of the machine, sometimes when you no longer have it, you sort of like think that's the only way
to
things
do it.
can get
Sure.
done.
And I'll also throw into that is stomach politics, bro. It's a South Africa. So anything ehlangene online in terms of direct return on investment is marginal, yabo.
Yeah.
It's a conversation I was trying to bring up I was at a workshop yesterday. For people to do the online thing and make music and market music online, for it to be sold on digital platforms where they get less than a percentage of it, it's counterproductive. You're paying for the beat, you're paying for the studio time, you're paying for the mixing, you're paying for the mastering, and you're getting less than 500 rand for like 1,000 streams, less than 500 rand for 2,000 streams, less than 500 rand for 3,000 streams, less than 500 rand for 4,000 streams. Yeah, bro, that's 4,000 people that have listened to your song and you're getting less than. Yeah, bro. So it's about time to now cut out the digital distribution platforms, because what are they really doing for us?
Nothing.
They're not really doing anything, bro. Yeah, bro. If you have enough people believing in what you do, even if it's that 150 people a month, they will visit your website and buy something from you directly.
I mean, if you've got like 50,000 followers, I believe you can monetize that audience.
That's another conversation we need to have about the social media space. And Instagram was ever conversation about. Instagram showed people their ass, I think, from like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When the algorithm went from being reach based to being engagement based. Yeah, well, and a lot of influencers died.
Yeah.
Well, it's just natural selection. The game changes, bro. Because we don't own the structures, so you can never say that you know what's going on.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out what your formula is to deal with market.
True. And for me, I just feel like also, like if you've built up a brand behind your name, you've got something to leverage. Like you can leverage that. I mean, if I've got 50,000 followers right across all my social media platforms, and then obviously people are still sleeping on YouTube, more especially artists.
Sure.
Like I feel like that's, if you go take a Wiz Khalifa, if you go, you hardly hear shit about Wiz Khalifa, but if I want to know what he's up to, I just go to his YouTube channel. I'm going to find something.
Sure, but stomach politics, Wiz Khalifa, Arana stomach politics, he's probably has a cut of Thai still. He probably still has a cut of whatever Mac Miller did with him still. Yeah, but he had enough. He got into a machine, got out of the machine, and was able to maneuver. Yeah. And Mambala wanted that are able to do that around in these parts. Omoto that actually did it is the person that kicked off this craze, Yamapiano, I guess, on a mainstream level. It was Umaporis.
Yeah.
But Umaporis made hits for Oskido, bro. He made hits for Oskido, bro. Yeah, bro.
Dog. Oh, just a pen.
Hits, bro. Hits. Smash hits. Worldwide. African hits. Local hits. Yeah, bro. So him stepping out and doing his own thing, it was off of the back of that, off of him being the golden boy. Yeah. And akalambile, so it's cool to have Bokelabato Cavs or MFR Soulzy or Jazzy Disciples, or Jazz, even Jazzy Q, Jazzy IQ, whatever he comes
Jazzy
from.
Q.
Jazzy Q, he comes from.
Jazzy.
He was on the nicer side of town, and we're pushing out. Yeah, bro. So it's how you take care of the stomach first. Until you take care of your stomach, you'll always make decisions based on it.
Yeah. But okay.
And you can't take care of your stomach. My point was, you can't take care of your stomach solely on online.
Yeah.
As in the way that the model stands.
So that then means another shift.
Yeah.
I never believe it's over.
It's never, bro.
If I could get a 9 to 5.
That, if you're a singer, go sing cover songs in some flipping restaurant, bro. Yeah, bro.
Get a 9 to 5. Like,
do something.
There's nothing wrong.
Sell merch. Take your time.
Getting a
time
job
selling
so
merch.
you can find something that you love and you're good at.
Do you know what the beautiful thing about a 9 to 5 is? Is that it requires such little self-discipline. Yeah, but because your paycheck is already the incentive that keeps you there between 9 and 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you're a musician,
you don't have to look for it.
You don't have to look for it. Yeah, well, whatever I do in my time here, I rest assured I'll be remunerated for it. As an entrepreneur, that is not there. Yeah, well, if you're not working from 3 to 5, like saying the hours to make money, those hours to make money, you lose them. Because wherever you're working, you're working at 9 to 5, but that company is still making money at 8 o'clock up so they're still making money at 9 o'clock up so now. Yeah, well, so that's what becomes difficult about the flipping thing with the entrepreneurship, and that's what the people are not understanding, especially the musicians who would say, yeah, you love music, but unless you want to go get signed and just make music, which also takes its own situations, yeah, bro, then you have to do it the other way, or like you're saying, do this as a hobby until someone discovers you. Yeah, well, but you have to decide. And about decide.
Just people have to be flexible, man. I mean, you can't be unidirectional. Like, if something doesn't work, then we figure out another way. Because otherwise, then the only option that you have is just giving up, and you're dead, just like you said.
There was a time when soap was not a thing in the world. Well, soap didn't exist. Well, and then there was a new discovery of what's our insipho and these germs. When they discovered germs, and then it's like, oh no, disgusting germs. Let's wipe them off, wash them off, which is not really technically good for you to wipe all of the micro. But we're not gonna get into.
You need that.
You're not gonna get into a microbiomes conversation, but as one of the soap companies that began at those times ended up becoming Unilever now. Yeah, well, so Unilever doesn't deal with just soap.
Yeah.
So in order for them,
a lot of products now.
Yeah, diversification is what I'm getting to. All over need to diversify, bro. Yeah, well, and another thing is I want to speak to the producers, yeah, because I feel like they're the ones that are letting us down. Yeah, well, our producer need to get off the reliance on the artist for sources of income.
Oof.
Yeah, well, you have more opportunities as a producer to make money from music than an artist, ever will.
Yeah.
Ever will. Yeah, well. So a lot of producers have demoralized themselves and now are all just practically depressed. The reigns, like the likes of Omar Akwa. There's been a popular one, Tweezy in his time. And then you get all Zuchi Coke Dope who'll tell you, bro, I just been making stuff from Zanti Magic and all these random movies, dog. You get all last, Taylor Man, he just, dog, making things for Netflix.
Even Abo Mozi.
The Mozi, bro. Well, Jägermeister's killing it with the Mozi, dog. Yeah. I recently did some stuff with Mr. Price. Well, the gang recently just did some stuff with the Hollywood Betsy, dog. And
hey, how did that come about, though? I saw Oskindi doing the
Hollywood Bets thing. Hey, yeah, shout out to Hollywood Bets, bro. There's a guy that really believes in Oskindi and Otando and the whole gang about the music that they make, and he was an employee at Hollywood Bets, bro. Yeah. But he was just one of those gems that you need, or persistent. So he had come to the studio, gotten the guys to work on a song for Hollywood Bets. They loved it. He started spreading it around the office. And then there was talks of them wanting to meet with us, to do a song for them. Yeah. Or run some new campaign. And then the guys wanted to pitch the song that they had done. And I was like, no, let's make another one, at least 3. Let's give them at least 3 so that they feel like they made the choice. Because corporates can just be like that sometimes. They make one more, and the guys liked that song. And then from there, it was just like coming in, and then it's the business talk across the table. And that's another thing. A lot of guys don't have the guy to talk the business. And if you don't have that guy, you need to either be able to pay somebody to do that, find somebody that can do that, or be willing to let go of a percentage of yourself so that somebody can take care of the business. We as an industry, as a Durban industry, we need to have moved beyond this thing of I'm a favor. If I'm doing you a favor, it's not a favor, it's an investment in you, and you are giving me a percentage of your thing. And that's another thing for producers to do. If you're charging 15,000 rand a beat, 15,000 manje, take his 2,000, charge his other 23, charge his other 13,000 to his bookings until he pays off his money. There's a lot of ways to make income in this thing.
Like this is a good topic that you're touching here, methods of payment. Yes. Because in these days, it's so sad when people work and work is produced and it's beautiful work. And at the end of it all, somebody screams, "Hey, I got robbed."
Hey, dog. Yeah, well, it goes still up. So just to finish up with the Hollywood Best thing, they make the song. There's some back and forth with obviously the lyrics and stuff like that. And the guys were flexible to change their lyrics and then obviously give the separates for the beats and stuff like that. So after we were able to speak the same language with the guys from there, it was the guys made the song. They were one of the stipulations during the negotiations was that they have to be in the ad.
Okay.
So they ended up there, ended up in the shoot, and then they met this girl. So the PR side was taken care of, and then the song came out. And when they cut the song for the ad, then Uskindi's part mentioning what Uskindi stayed there. So that will do so much for his career. Yeah,
Imagine, not only that, but I mean the experience of interacting with a huge corporate company.
Sure.
I mean,
as an up and comer,
yeah,
as an emerging artist. Let me not say up and comer because he's already here. As an emerging artist, those experiences that are shared in isolation, but they're not there as like what's actually we can do this thing. Yeah. Well.
I wanna. Now come the hard question. Do I need to say it though?
Go ahead.
Are you just gonna answer it anyway?
Go ahead.
Wait, before you answer this one, let me make sure this. Okay, yeah, the biggest question in the room. I'll ask it as politely as I can. What happened at the Maleningi? I'm no longer gonna ask you. Actually, we were supposed to have this conversation and would get to know Maleningi and what's up. But like, if you could brief it up, just sum it up in the best way you can. What happened?
On a higher level, it's the people that had initially come together to form the thing, yabo. During the formation, there was basically a lack of communication amongst those people, yabo. And because everybody trusted my capabilities in actually running with it, yabo, nobody was questioning the day-to-day operations of the company, yabo. Just isn't they strategic? Isn't they like with the decisions they had made contractually with the thing, with the company and the people working for it. Because I was a person working for the company as a head, as opposed to a Cultured Chaos, where it's my development label,
the CEO.
And I'm the founder and the CEO and the director,
shareholder,
the whole thing. So I wasn't a director in this company. I was there to make sure that this works and does what it's supposed to do for the people that are signed on there. Things didn't go out. People didn't see eye to eye in terms of the agreements they made with the director and the actual label. That started impacting the work. It made it more difficult for me to do my job. And then it got to a point where it was about to start fucking up my reputation. So I was like, if anything that I can sell, what I have as a commodity is my reputation. That's what I sell. That's what I go around selling. So once that starts being impacted and I get asked questions that I can't answer, then I'd rather just step away, because obviously the people that were shareholding and directing felt they now knew better or knew more than what I had known or what I could do for them at the time. So the decisions that were being made were now differing to what was agreed upon, even with me. So I'm not one to wait until it dilly. I'm just like, once that happens, I walk away. And historically, if you check me out in this Durban, there's a lot of things that I've walked away from, because at one stage when my principles no longer align with Leon to Leo, I'm gonna stomach politics, I'm gonna loco. So it's easy for me just to say, you know what, I wish them all the best.
There's no need to fight for this.
There's no need to fight for this, because it's not mine. It's just unfortunate that unit, bringing all those people together, was doing a lot for everybody involved.
Sorry, I'm another camera down.
Alright, cool. And that's the thing, like, at the beginning, it wasn't a situation where I was a one-man band. I had a team, But then the team had issues with, obviously, like I say, with the director and the shareholders and stuff like that. So what I really learned from the whole thing is the pros and cons of working with an investor or people like outside the shit. Because I don't want to say that I'm very bad with authority, but like, it's gotta make sense to me. You bringing in money can't be the only reason why you think I must listen to what you're saying to me.
Like that's your only reason you should be listened to.
Yeah, but you go what up money, because once we use that money the way you say you want it to be used, something will fail, and then because the ego always protects itself, you will not allow that to be your failure.
Oh,
Yeah, bro.
it's basically like let's use a football club. Like when chairman interferes in the team selection.
Yes.
And then the team loses.
And then
and blames the coach.
And exactly. It's exactly that. Because what's that? Soccer is a perfect example of sports because it's run by like so many investors and stuff like that. So there's a board you have to answer to.
Yeah.
So answering to a board was very different for me. Yeah, bro. So I did as much as I could without having to answer to the board. But like things hit a ceiling and we needed to go to the next level. Yeah, bro. And then that was being jeopardized. So I was just like, you know what? Yeah, actually, it's cool. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Question. So, I mean, who in the formation of the whole of the company, who brings in the artists?
Who brings in the artists?
I'd like to think it's you, because I mean, all those artists, it's artists that you were working with. Either way, I mean, since you were in that.
Yeah. Well, technically, I brought in some, but some ngawa class well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
they were already they joined the company before you did.
Yeah, I was brought in to make sure that their interests were taken care of in terms of the how the contracts were formed, what the requirements are, and how like the shares are split. Yeah, but I was brought in to do the framework and the consulting. And then actually, we'd be better off if this guy is at just running the day-to-day operations. Yeah. So yeah, there were there were guys that were already there, and then I brought on other people. And then one of the shareholders started constantly wanting to bring in different new people, and I'm like, we can't do this yet. Even if you're bringing in these new people, we can only work with these people next year. There's something we're still doing. And then, you know how people with money don't like to be getting told no. And I've been saying no to people's faces for the longest time.
It's basically like the Manchester situation.
Yeah.
Pep says, "Oh, I'm happy with the team, but manager says we need Cristiano."
Exactly, Doug. You know, it's cool, yeah, but Doug, if they're saying it, bro. So obviously that puts a strain on a lot of other on the plans, because now there's another person to take care of who we didn't really account for at the time. So it just started becoming ridiculous.
Yeah. I can imagine. That's frustrating. So now, like, I heard rumors that you are not the only person that left.
Musa. Janela, because we're out here on the GNPS. Shout out GNPS exclusive.
Out here.
I wasn't actually the first person to leave.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but there were people actually they left before me. Yeah, but hopefully they're comfortable with me mentioning their names, because you know we went through the trenches together now.
Yeah.
But Lex was the first person to leave.
Lex Lafoy.
Yeah, Lex Lafoy, and it was difficult to lose Lex because she was the salesperson. She was the one that linked us with the Mr. Price deals. She was the one that linked us with media for the media launch that led to us. Yeah, but she's a beast in that stuff there. Yeah, but even before she did the Maleningi stuff, we had worked with her doing some of the events coordination for the Cultured Social on show and tell and stuff like that, because I was just busy on other projects and I just needed somebody to project manage that. Yeah, bro. So she was the first one to go, yeah, bro, which left the marketing, sales, and the administration.
Yeah,
bro, on me basically, and then there was the music issue there, bro, and then following Lex, it was Uwap that showed interest. That he's like, you know what, I actually don't want to come. I don't want to deal with this because, bro, A, B, and C, and D. He had his own reasons, bro. And then it was like, okay, cool. They were part of like my core team in terms of I've got a person going out there to market and sell the music.
That's basically the admin team gone.
It's gone. Yeah, well, I'm testing the songs in the club. People, Uwabli is the the beacon for the
exactly
the commercial thing for the mainstream. Olex is the vehicle for the commercial stream. Yeah, well, and then I'm in the development stream and the production streams. So it made perfect sense.
yeah
So after that thing, then I was like, nah, what I'm left with now is just a whole lot of stress for no reason.
yeah
And clearly these people aren't gonna be replaced. Yeah, well, so it was just like, yeah. Then I decided to go to Gamash. Yeah.
it's so sad because I mean I liked what you're doing. Even I saw that campaign Mayhem. Man, that had so much energy.
It did,
And
yeah.
and it was picking up steam. Just like I mean, you kept wondering what's next, what's next, and the hits that you're dropping, hey, dope.
That was
Not only that, but like you following it up with the visuals as well.
It was a proper. We were running the label like a record label, like a proper. I don't want to say like a major label, but the principle was of a major label of Woodsie. Dominate the streets, dominate the radio, dominate TV, and then dominate the corporate, the syndication and the publishing side. So, and the whole goal was to do it from here, from KZN, from Durban. And that was the only sad part for me, is that when we were breaking through the ceiling, and as a camp and a record label, we were being spoken about in Joburg mainstream media, without having ever been there. We hadn't planned a tour to go there, but we haven't even left the city. We've actually been to Lady Smithy and to Gwanongoma before that, all of that.
I mean, you got when I saw Oliver doing Nongoma FM, I'm like, yo, this is huge.
Dominate the radio.
This is huge, cause I mean that's never been done before, and
sure,
and that's how you cover KZN.
Yeah,
you're not just gonna cover it.
You're not gonna cover KZN from a Teabagcc, dog. You're not.
You gotta go out and see the rest of the province and make sure good bag was.
And that's the crazy thing. All of them are like, oh, Lady Smith, no Pangeni and no Goma. You get, as an artist, you get open to that. What's like say? Nah, you market him.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you get,
because I mean, out here, I mean, it's scary.
It's the central business district, dog. It's the CBD. It's a lifeless place, but it's beautiful at the same time. I love it in the city.
Yeah.
But you can't ignore the surrounding areas. You can never do that.
So what's the plan now? So are you back to focus on cultured chaos strictly?
Yeah, but I'm focused more on right now on production. And not production in the sense of making beats, in the sense of producing an album, producing a project, producing a song, but producing it from using the same framework I would be using if I was still running the label. There needs to be the media taken care of. There needs to be this taken care of. There needs to be that taken care of to take whatever this project is or product is to the next level. So currently you're getting too many exclusives from me.
Asish.
Currently we're working on.
That's what we're here for.
Working on the project. I'm producing the album. Yeah, Celestial Mikey. Yeah, well, that's what we're working.
Let's end the podcast.
Because it's about goddamn time, bro. Like,
dog,
he doesn't need to do anything else now. My EP, that guy needs to drop an album, and that album needs to define or redefine what Durban hip hop is in the South African landscape. And he's the only artist I can see right now that can do that.
Dog, it's a win.
It's a win.
Dog, that song can't. Come on, dog. Like I feel like that song.
We've got the video coming out soon, and it's not what people expected because.
Okay, shout out to that. I feel like we need to push that one.
Yeah, that one is. Hey, but there's other ones, bro. There's gems on that album, and it's just basically finally putting together something that people can buy into, but is still loved by hip hop. Because everybody that was a stronghold for hip hop, like as hip hop as we know it.
Wait, is Celestial now? Has he also left Maleningi, or he's still there and you're working with him?
I think he'll discuss that, but I'm still working with him
you leave
separately.
it to him.
Yeah, I'll leave it to him. But I'm working with him separately on the project, which is
Okay.
the album. So anything else is he's doing that shit there.
Okay.
I'm just specifically dealing with
The
the
project.
product. Yeah, that's what I'm producing. Everything else, I'm Klangene and I.
Okay, so obviously if the finances come into play.
Mm.
Like, what's the agreement day? Because
Percentages, bro. I mean, it's either you're gonna pay me for my time or you're gonna give me the percentages that I need. Yeah, but it's simple.
So that's an agreement between you and him.
Yeah,
So now, if he's still signed to the record label,
that's a conversation he needs to have with his record label.
okay.
Yeah, well, before he does anything.
Okay.
Yeah, well.
Okay. So what if the record label now says, no, we're not happy with this project. Like, we want you to work with this producer.
That's fine, but whatever is left here is still mine.
Okay. Okay.
To exploit, yeah, well, and do whatever I want to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
well.
because I know these situations like tend to get tricky.
And that's one thing I made sure that I protected when I was going into the whole thing. Yeah, well, niggas were able to keep, and if they want to leave, they keep their shit.
Oh, so the contracts that you set up for the guys went like 360s.
No, they were 360s, but there were 360s where everything is flexible 360s. Yeah, the most flexible 360s I've seen or I've come across. Yeah, well, because I went to a number of different types of 360 deals and removed just all the shit that was bullshit. And then left all that would keep them obligated to the company, and the company, more importantly, the company obligated to them. Yeah, well, because a lot of the times you don't have somebody on the company side to make sure that
the company is protected as well.
Yeah, all the artist is protected against the company. Yeah, well, so that was taken care of early. And then
I mean, like that's how future record labels should be ran. Like,
Doug, it's not difficult, Lentole. It just needs people that literally Yeah, well, you just need somebody who or with their ego.
Yeah.
And those are the two things that kill anything.
Yeah, because I meet a lot of young artists that are aspiring, you know, and they talented, and you can only imagine, like, you know, because as soon as you talk to an artist, and you can tell when an artist is well versed and well knowledged in what it is that they're doing.
Yeah,
you know, and
how
it functions. You know, within the first 2 minutes of the conversation about
okay. Hero talent, you know? Hero talent.
It was you were still recording Goma, I keep daily. And
so now it's also something that I'm going to be branching out into once I have enough time, or once of the projects that I'm working on take off the ground, is just doing more workshops and stuff like that, because I can see that there's the gap there is massive, and I get so upset when I attend the workshops, because I'm a person that likes to consume knowledge.
Yeah.
So when I get there and it's just people just patting each other on the back, bruh, and just like rubbing their bellies and speaking something that can be found on the internet, it lessens the value of a workshop. I mean, especially if it's a conference vibe, because if it's a conference and there is like hectic people, there should be an opportunity, or more than one opportunity, that is invested in that conference to help somebody in that particular room. And the one conference or whatever that really does that well is the one that's done by Miracle Uspam and in music in bees. Yeah, bro. So everything else is just a trickle of somebody's gonna get state funds.
Yeah.
Call people from a radio station, get guy
from an event.
This guy, get some guy that does events, and then tell people about perseverance and determination. Yeah, well, instead of giving them
it's not adding any value to the people. I'm
talking about giving somebody a checklist of every time you have recorded your song is not complete until you've checked these lists off. Yeah, well, including the registration on Nusamro, including so that umuntu angathuki bump into yabo because of a technicality when they thought they had a complete song. You're not gonna get onto a Spotify playlist if you uploaded your song last night.
Yeah, if the project is dropping next month,
sure,
it's better you upload it at the beginning.
Yeah,
or 2 months earlier.
You don't announce anything until you've
until
uploaded
you've
it.
uploaded.
Yes, and your date of release is 4 to 6 weeks ahead. So these are small things that machines are doing. It's simple procedural shit that machines are doing. Like Durban guys, you won't find a Durban artist outside of Uplaki who has a machine behind him, and Nasty before him who has machines behind him.
Yeah.
A pre-order, something as simple as a pre-order. Available with pre-order before.
Yeah.
Well.
Like I see, even there's a lot of things like even like the lyrics. You know, like some of the songs that I listen to personally, like I interact better with them if I see, you know how iTunes play you the lyrics like in a karaoke form.
Sure.
Like that, like it helps you engage even more with the song.
Your song is not complete until the lyrics are uploaded.
Exactly. And,
well,
and they show up in sequence
and they show up
along with the song.
On the day of the drop, not a Woodsy, because we've done the difference like while we were learning that in how to work this thing where you upload the song and then you put the lyrics later and you see a spike in the numbers again once the lyrics are on.
Yes.
So why not magnify that into one thing where the three, Woodsy, the song for a fact is dropping in 2 weeks' time, so you're scheduling issue GNPS, the thing, your interviews 2 weeks before, whatever, A, B, and C, and D. The rollout, the momentum leads you to a successful drop. Nothing drops and then is lifted after that. It's difficult, bro.
It never works like that.
It's difficult unless you have the clubs, and Abantamanenge don't have the clubs.
Right now, you ain't getting no club.
You ain't getting no club, kids. Because like, even Yabo Kostatic,
his
verse on Yabo Malume
came
from, because Wabli played it in the club. Basangan.
Oh, shit.
Also Costa Tare, bruh. I know Sim send me some beats, but I need to be here.
I'm jumping on this.
That's an avenue that you have. You don't have that. So you need to find a way to compete around that without having that. Because that's what I was saying too, and it's no beef, but you can hear the influence of Sim's production on EPTA Utin.
Yeah.
Because it was made by his DJ. Oh. And his DJ was with him here in Durban.
When he came
through. So it's that influence that spills over, yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about music, because I'm like, Doug, when I heard that beat, I'm like, yes, but now speed this up. And it's the snares and structure of the song are very similar to Amapi's Sims.
Yeah.
And if you're not in our life, you don't understand that Sims created that sound. Like it beats, Malume and the beat Mtase were made around the same time.
Same time, yeah.
Well,
you can actually hear the resemblance.
Sure.
Especially Mtase, like it's typically iconic. Like you can hear.
It's hectically, it's hectically iconic. Sims with a sound.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it seems like there's Namayama beats dog really understand. Like beats the Peswab.
Sure. Oh, that's a monster beat. And that's another thing that people must never underestimate. Like I'll give him his props time and again, because I think all the songs except for one, which was a co-production with the Sims, they were all produced by Sims. Maleningi Records was made by Sims.
Dog.
Yeah, well, and how do you find somebody?
Soft Life
for Sims. Sisu Hamangani Sims. Silit's obviously
Dog,
Sims.
See that sound.
Sims.
That sound like that's my. If hip hop needs to compete with
Dando sound, Soft Life sound
with Lokuzan, Pian. That's the avenue.
Ileo sound.
That's the avenue.
Ileo sound.
Because you still got the same similar lyrical play, and obviously the Vanag also puts you on par with what's happening
on something super warm, super familiar, but just fresh.
Yeah.
And that's Dando's gonna win like that. That's how Dando's always gonna win. Because he gives you something fresh, but it's so familiar. It almost feels like you already know it, so you long to know it even more.
Yeah. That's tiny. Sing it, great. I'm wrapping up.
Ooh.
Here's one. Sure, sing it, great. Sing it. I wait. No, bro. I mean, we can go on the whole day. But nonetheless, like, now I want you to forecast what's our future here in Durban, like, or what do you feel like we need to do? I mean, in order for us to still find our feet post this thing, or just to ride out this wave, however long it lasts. You know, what are the things you think we need to focus on, that we need to keep in order for us as Durban post COVID era, if there is one, we're still standing at least, and still trying to once again build this thing.
As a community in terms of music and entertainment, or as Durban, supporting our music and entertainment, the first thing we need to do is focus on who we're prioritizing our efforts on, and it can't be just one person. It never works when it's just one person. Yeah, bro. So I know it's a bit elitist, and Ulab has always said I have a bit of an elitism situation, but I honestly believe in choosing the best of the best, like gladiator vibes, dog, and then have them battle it out, because that's entertaining. Seeing a gladiator beat up a defenseless young boy is not entertaining, dog. It's not entertaining. The gladiator just looks like a bully. So we need our gladiators, dog, and we need to get behind them in terms of the media partners, both commercial, and the new media waves. Yeah, but on the production side, as producers, what needs to be focused on is the quality of the product, as opposed to how the quantity, or even what the product is. Yeah, but it can be whatever it is. If it's a clothing line, it needs to be competing with things that you'll find at Mr. Price. Yeah, but this whole we need to do away with the sympathy market. Yeah, but the sympathy market needs to be done away with.
We need to redefine support black business.
Yeah. Supporting a black business.
Actually, we need to give it a definition.
We need to give it a definition, bro. And we have benchmarks to like other cultures to benchmark from. Like, if you want to go to the highest point, like the Jews, the Islams, the Muslims, the community here in South Africa, in Durban. Yeah, well, that's the quickest person to learn from how they do things. The Greek community in the country is super together. Yeah, well, it's crazy because everybody has a Greek. Yeah, well, and all those Greeks know each other. Yeah. But it's because of that there is that community built, but that needs to happen where you identify each other and only deal with basically what has deemed the standard. Yeah, because I'm sure there's other Greek people that are doing other things, or other Muslim people that are trying now, but couldn't stand that in a con. Yeah. But we'll fuck with you because you are one of us. So it's that, yeah, well, at least the petty beefs, I said petty, the little quarrels, those things died out because
we've grown up.
Yeah. And then for me, the plea for me is from the artist is, I know it's gonna sound very weird, but the artists need to stop being so selfish with the music. Just because you love 42 Dag, my G, it doesn't mean that for the sound, your 42 Dag is going to go mainstream in South Africa. Yeah, well, and you're not the person to take it there. Yeah, well, the level of your career that you're at, a lot of artists are at, when they refuse to be flexible, is what stops them from climbing into the circles where they can later on redefine music. Yeah, well, because if you're a Durban hip-hop supporter or whatever, everybody, it's always funny that I wonder when they talk about what they really enjoyed by Nasty C is the Price City mixtape. Yeah. Well, duh, he's just rapping. Yeah, bro. It's obviously just beats and it's just rapping. Yeah, bro. Umutulalelo maskandi goes like and mind you, umutulalelo maskandi. Umutulalelo gospel as in hardcore fans. As hardcore fans. Drive Time 3 to 6, they sing along to Superman Black Coffee. Yeah. Yeah, well, it crosses over. That's what crossing over means. Yeah, well, you need to stop being selfish with creating things or creating music that only you and your friends can listen to.
Like, don't.
Or if that's what you're going for,
don't put yourself in a pocket.
Don't put yourself in a pocket.
Especially like early in your career, like
because you don't define your pocket. Your pocket, it will be defined by your market, and your market is full of individual users. So rather focus on those users, like the people that are your age. What are they watching on TikTok? What are they posting on TikTok? What are they watching on Netflix? What music are they listening to that when they are not influenced by anything? Bro. And find a way to make yourself relevant in the market that you want to be. And I'm talking to people that want to go mainstream, not people that are doing it for the love. If you're doing it for the love, my G, keep at it with the subliminal miracles until wherever, bro. But you must understand that when you are trying to get to the level of your idols or Jabba or AKA or Casper and all those people, there is a point where you will have to cater to making a song that is liked by a lot of people, and that's more difficult than making songs that you know your fans will like.
Yeah.
Well, that's the comfort zone that people just need to get out of, and I think just the theme would be just to get out of the comfort zone. Well, get out of the comfort zone and just test yourself out really properly in the market.
And diversify.
Diversify. Because one thing, just to say to the producers, and I'm an artist, everybody's doing Amapiano. But nobody is sampling Amapiano the same way Kanye West would sample it Gladys Knight. The same way that Puffy and them guys were sampling the more money, more problem stuff.
Can I tell you something? Like, why did it have to take... okay. I know Uma Porris has been rapping on piano, like, throwing rhymes and some flows. But I mean, like, we rappers...
Hey, God verse.
That's what you do.
God verse. But no.
That's what you do every day.
Pura is a rapper.
Yeah.
A part of me just believes that he was in the room when Uma Porisa was doing that verse, if he was not the person to write that verse, because by a flow, in Amapiano that are rappers or vocalistic.
Yeah.
And then there's guys that push quite or Pasta 929 or Risk Majlis. But they found a way to make it work for themselves in the genre. So all I'm saying is just sample it like hip hop. What makes hip hop is that we take genres that are popular and then we rap on them.
Exactly, dog. Like the Konenyin Toana Futsenye I saw recently is also rapping on a piano beats with Os. I don't know where he's from, but I think he's from Gauteng somewhere. Also, nice flows, nice rhymes, and I'm like I know a lot of rappers like who could do this thing, like and
do it hard.
Like, I mean, they've been doing it. Like,
sure,
you can. Like, Duncan.
Sure,
would do well on piano.
Yeah, but I'm not saying they must do it piano. I'm saying they must chop it the fuck
exactly.
Up.
Find a way to make it
work for you.
If it's something like, I mean, this thing is just like, it's like being a scientist.
Exactly.
Like you take something into your lab and you come and experiment with. It's not to say it's gonna work.
Yeah.
But maybe what you can come out with could be it for you.
You try it and then you put it out there and you test it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You go back and you try. Yeah. I'm not afraid of the rejection.
Because look at Focalistic. Focalistic started out as a hip hop artist.
Hardcore hip hop.
Now he's penetrating the international market.
Piano.
He can still rap.
Exactly.
Like
he can.
You can still call him
rap.
for a feature, and he'll rap his ass off. Still.
Yeah, I called him
exactly. So I mean, like people do need to play around with different sounds. Like, don't stay in one pocket, and
don't do it the same as everybody else.
I like the advice you gave the producers, though, because I feel like producers are sleeping on themselves.
Producers are sleeping on themselves, and Brian, that's the thing for me. I don't understand this whole self-pity thing, because I'm like, bro, and I'll speak to maybe the Tweezer situation. I'm like, you were at the height of AKA's iconic career. You could not flip a couple adverts for Channel O, flip a couple synchronizations, some licensing there, so that you don't have to even worry about AKA anymore. Because do you think White Mustard, remember the Mustard came in with YG?
Yeah.
And then after that, Umastad Baba is standalone product.
Now we see him on his own.
On his own, dog. And that's generally the trend, Orkant, where the producer comes in with an artist. Oh, Mike Will. Again, with them country ass niggas. Two country boys. Made it work. Working with Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
But Hit Boy just did Nas. Hit Boy came in with audio push.
About Zaytoven.
This is Zaytoven. God. Yeah, bro. So it's the element of the producer needs to stop playing themselves secondary to the artist because it's the other way around.
If there's one producer I feel like he's doing it right is Uraf.
Uraf, yeah.
Yeah, cause
Rough, Lunatic. Because Lunatic is behind the scenes of a lot of the productions, in terms of and albums as well. So quantity their works, Uzuchi, dog. They niggas that are doing it correctly, bruh.
25K's album, dog. And then people say hip hop is dead in SA. As a
hip hop fan, don't show something to. I'm a hip hop fan.
That project, you can still listen to way beyond whatever is hot in piano now.
It's a hip hop. It's hip hop.
5 months from now.
I'm a fan of it. So hip hop need to stop being convinced by people that aren't fans of hip hop. And that's what makes hip hop uncool because hip hop was always supposed to be liked as a counter revolutionary thing, as an against the grain thing. But it was always meant to be liked like that. Fuck you if you don't like hip hop. That's the attitude of hip hop. But this thing of well maybe I used to listen to hip hop, but now actually this piano thing is actually quite. You can listen to both, bro. But you know when that Nas song drops,
it still got you.
You still got you, dog.
Oh. Hip hop but
it's not always going to be in the mainstream. It'll always be commercially viable, but it doesn't mean that it'll always be in the mainstream.
Because I mean, if things go back to normal, best believe, it won't just be piano. It's not every venue.
Piano was what kept people warm during the first pandemic off of their hot 2019 year. So, Upiano was catering to their new fans. You can't tell me hip hop guys are catering to their new, even their old fans.
Being out here, man.
Go to any hip hop guy with fans right now.
I'll tell you one thing. Like the day Casper, aka, stopped being relevant, then hip hop.
And they did it to themselves because they just kept bitching.
No. I mean, they're still relevant today.
Not for the right things.
No, obviously. But the name that they've built was off of the back of hip hop.
Yes.
So, and they know as well, if all these other things that they've lined up for themselves, if all that fails, where do they turn to?
They're going to get in where they fit in, bro.
Come back to hip hop. So
they're going to get in where they fit in.
I mean, we grew up in a time where hip hop was hated.
It's always been.
It's always been the case. Amanika, this, that,
That's how I knew that trap was good hip hop because people didn't like it because it was against the grain. Because it was just like, what the fuck are these people doing? And it's like, fuck you if you don't like it. But the way they were delivering it was still super professional. Like piano. You can say I mix with piano, but I submit a great to I figure for a radio interview, I told them my kicks, but I'm a kick out 5 in a day pushing one song.
Exactly, bro.
So they do the right things, bro.
Thank you, Teabag. Thanks for coming through, my dog.
Showcasing
much appreciated. Anything in closing?
No. I think I've said enough. Yeah. Right. Shout look out for Celestial Mike's album. Look out for You Feel the Vibe, your Pete Turkey. Yeah, bro. That's gonna be some fire. That's gonna be some fire.
Actually, they're not ready for that one.
Yeah. Hey, bro, but they need to be.
Itegu is showing off.
Yeah. That cool.
Literally.
That cool. I might be actually dropping a single at the end of September. Featuring Skindy, Celestial Mike, and the Musicaholic. It's produced by the beats by Audio Sims.
Musi is also coming.
Legend.
Musi is also dropping an album this
Musi is also the perfect example of somebody that is making music commercially, but it's not in the mainstream. Musicaholic is booked every weekend, bruh.
dog. It's mina bethu ngiphila ngawo music wakhe la mshit.
Yeah, exactly. Umziholic is an
If
artist.
your shit's got music, I know at least he's gonna come in with something nice. Like,
Sure. But was only two news. I saw him performing recently at Pet Center, and I'm like, dog, these are fans. Like these people, like they know the words, they like the songs, they know it, they engaged with them. People just
Amen. I'm optimistic. We're headed towards a great future, as you say.
So,
thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all our returning subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, do the right thing. Hit the subscribe button down here. And do follow Teabag on all his socials. Teabag at Teabagcc, right?
Yep, at Teabagcc.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can follow the podcast at GNPS_podcast. You can follow myself at General_Engineer. Peace. Catch us next time.
Let's go.